gonna get fired. I know, but you gotta see this.
Welcome to an episode of Box Office QB's Nerd Shit Edition. We're diving deep into PS5 lore right now with Spider-Man 2, the game that just came out October 20th. Me and Jeff both were able to get it on launch day and have been playing it ever since. I'm about 78% through. Jeff, I believe, is probably closer to 30 to 33% through.
That's being generous.
It's definitely being generous, but it's definitely more than enough. Excuse me for the mic fuck up there, but it's definitely more than enough for a review, I think, especially after recently playing the first and second installment of this series. This is now the third. The first two saw you play as Spider-Man, voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, and he was going through some things in the first one. You get Doc Ock, you get a little bit of a Sinister Six vibes there. Then you get Miles Morales coming in, and he has to fight against one of his old childhood friends who becomes the Tinkerer. He learns a lot about the Prowler and his uncle, and now this game brings the two of them together, meshes one into a big, beautiful story. And Jeff, to start us off, give us 2 minutes or so of you just gushing about this game, because it's one we've been so damn excited about. If you couldn't tell from the Spider-Man decorations behind both of us and my PlayStation Spider-Man fiend, I have a freaking 150th anniversary shirt on right now. We're Spider heads. What do you have to say about this game just off the top of your head?
Well, first and foremost, I think this series has now overtaken the Arkham series as my favorite superhero video game story that comes in a medium like this. I love this. I even love it more than like recent Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, not named No Way Home, but like if we were to see this on the big screen, I would love this storyline, and it drags you in like right away. Like within the first 5 minutes of this game, you're fighting Sandman in this huge battle in New York City, and it's just so cool. And like I said, the storytelling is second to none. The graphics are great. The controls are just super easy to use. Like you can get back into the swing of things, and that could be a pun intended if you want it to, right away. I love that we get to play as both Miles and Peter in here, just because they bring so many different qualities to the table, especially Miles with his, electricity and electrified webs, and then you have Peter as the more tech-based Spider-Man. So the dynamic here is fantastic. The supporting characters are great. There's so many little mini games here, like games within the games that make this just stand out.
Yeah, and New York feels more alive than ever. I mean, you would be swinging in the old Spider-Man 1 and 2. You get the occasional person you can communicate with or interact with, excuse me. But there's more cars, there's more people out there. You hear a lot more conversations. You can really just kind of sit on a pole in downtown New York and listen to conversations. In fact, some of those have been going viral on TikTok, and they're great. And on top of that, they bring back a lot of the stuff that we loved, right? The swinging mechanics that have really been present since the original Spider-Man 2 game way back in the early 2000s. And they've really refreshed those and added flying into this mix, which is just so pure and so smooth. I mean, fast travel on this, there's no loading screen either. And that's something that was a huge with the PS5. It was a big selling point whenever the PS5 and even the new Xbox were coming out, that their loading screens were going to be a thing of the past. And we've still seen them in games. I mean, Hogwarts Legacy still had them to an extent in some places. Ghost of Tsushima games still had them. This one, they're gone. They're completely freaking gone. It's insane. You can pick a place on the map and immediately just kind of zoom out, and it zooms right back in, and you're fast traveled there. Granted, fast travel is a little bit harder to unlock, but let's be honest. If you're Spider-Man, you can swing and fly. There's really no reason to fast travel. You can get from one side of New York City to the other in less than 3 minutes pretty dang easily. And then you also get the suits. You got some of the suits from the Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales games that make their return in this one. You also have some custom-made suits from celebrities. You have big suits that you've seen from movies. One of my favorite ones is you can get the Spider-Man Noir suit, and it actually puts Spider-Man character back into that 20 FPS kind of looking like a comic. It's they're great, and some of the and graphics is probably the one thing that people have been harping on, and we'll get into that in a second. For the most part, the graphics are fine. There's a little bug here and there, but nothing that is ruining the game whatsoever. And we'll jump onto that. Actually, that's a great segue. We're going to jump into gameplay review now. Fighting and web swinging again. I already kind of hit on it. Jeff, What do you feel like? To me, it feels like this is so much quicker than other games.
Like it's smoother. There's not as many bugs as the last time. I think the only issue I ran into here was I got stuck under a patio and I had to restart the game. But that's the only thing I've run into. Like the combo moves are way easier to do. You do the circle triangle moves and they work like right away. Like it's way more improved than the last two games. And that's not even saying the last two games had problems. It's just everything is more fine tuned this time around because Insomniac's been working on this game for years now. And they've really just kind of hit their stride when it comes to animating Spidey and mimicking his movements. And that goes for Miles and Peter here.
Yeah, and the game doesn't, some games with gameplay will try to force you to play a certain way, whether that's stealth or just brute or health type character, whatever it might be. And this game kind of allows you to play whichever way you want. And I love that. You can just go Rambo and jump into every room. And you've been able to do that in the other ones and in the Arkham games for that matter. But for me, the thing I really want to talk about is the flying. The flying has become so damn fun. And it's something I never really thought I wanted in a Spider-Man game. But really, it's a callback to the original comics where Peter added the webbed wings to his original suit. And just to see those come to life and being able to use them and add them into the tricks and the dives and just picking up speed, the car chases, they're not fucking existent because they're so damn quick. They go so fast because you're able to just speed up. And once you level up your traversal mechanisms and everything too, the game is just insanely fast. And that is one thing about this. There was no time wasted in between beats of the story and or even just fights in a match, right? You're just consistently moving, consistently pushing buttons, consistently having to dodge and analyze and find ways to do it. And you also get some of the old attacks back, but you get some new ones. One of my favorite ones right now is the what is it? The web sport. Whenever you throw someone in the air, you pull them and you just kind of bang them on the ground like a basketball. There's actually a fight in a gym at one point where I was trying for about 5 minutes to get a bad guy to land in the net, just to see if I can get 3 points for this particular review, just because it's so much fun, right? And it's one of these games where the gameplay doesn't get tiring. It just doesn't. I don't know if you felt that way at all, Jeff.
No, like I will tell you that the flying took a little bit to get used to. When I was first doing it, I was going the wrong direction and kept smashing into the ground. But you fight Sandman for like a good 15 minutes, and you get your wings under you. I'm just full of fucking puns today, but
Okay,
it's
Spidey.
yeah, quips. There you go, thwip thwip. There's my
Oh my gosh, can I
references.
talk about how much I love the PS5 DualSense controller? Because I play with a headset, and I don't know about you, Jeff, but I've been like, whenever Emily's not home, I put it on loud. I'm over here like, fuck it, we're going loud, balls to the walls with this Sony audio system, right? But if you listen, you get thwips out of here whenever. And like one of my favorite things is like whenever I'm going and I go stealth mode a lot, right? And I'm doing and whenever you web up somebody from a perch takedown, you hear their head on the screen go thunk, and you hear it on the fucking PS5 controller too. You hear that thunk, and then the thwip, all these little noise from there, the vibrations from it is important. It's insane, and I think that goes right into the graphics and story review because the gameplay for me is an easy Hall of Fame gameplay. This is the kind of game that we want with our superheroes. We want to feel like we have all the power and that we have to dodge things and web them up and be sneaky every once in a while, right? These are fun things about superhero games. Now, the graphics and story review are a different thing. They're still, I think, at that Hall of Fame level, but I want to say all-star. All-star because the story for sure holds this thing up like no other. You'll get past that point you're at, Jeff, and you're going to see what I'm talking about, and I don't want to spoil it for fans, but there's about 4 or 5 different things that I'm just like, holy shit, they did that. Um, Things that I couldn't even predicted heading into this game. There's two big villains in this, one being Venom and one being Kraven. That's not a spoiler. We all knew those were coming. The question is, how do you decide which one's the bigger villain? And they nailed it with their story beats, and they nail it with their missions, and it's fantastic. That's what makes it a Hall of Fame. Now, the graphics wise, there are issues with the graphics that I could see people complaining about. If you put on a hooded Spider-Man suit, for instance, the Raconite is one of my favorite ones. The hood goes in and off the character during cutscenes. It looks weird. The cape kind of flows around. Sometimes it gets stuck, but capes are some of the hardest things to do when it comes to graphic making. So at the end of the day, I would say it's more than fine. There's little issues here and there that they could fix with a patch or two. But you get on top of a skyscraper, you get on top of Avengers Tower, dusk, and see, and the New York skyline. It is beautiful, fantastic. The suits look great. The suits take damage while you're fighting in missions, and they keep the damage even afterwards. I remember once I had stopped a few little side crimes of Miles, ended up going to go talk to his uncle, and during the talk with the uncle, all the burns and scratches are still on his suits. Just little things like that. Fan-fucking-tastic for me, which is why I'm giving the graphics and story portion of this an all-star, because while the graphics have a little bit to work on, the story mode brings it all together and makes it say, fuck it, I don't give a shit if the graphics have a little bit of a bug.
Yeah, and I told you when I started playing this game that Kraven in this universe reminds me a lot of Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, where he is this mercenary that secretly comes into the city and he's doing all these things without people knowing. And that is such a cool way to bring Kraven into a Spider-Man universe. And I love Kraven. Like, if I were in charge of Hollywood and they told me to reboot Spider-Man, the first villain I would have had Spider-Man fight in a movie would be Kraven, because I've wanted to see that movie for years. It's just so easy to do. You have this guy who wants to hunt the most dangerous game on earth, and he comes to New York City, and you have all these superpowered beings here. So they do such a good job of making Kraven a huge threat, and I really love that. I haven't got to Venom yet, but I will tell you that the symbiote Spider-Man storyline is my favorite of all time. I mean, I got symbiote Spidey right here. I got Secret Wars #8 back there. Like, this is my favorite storyline ever. And the fact that you get to play through it now is just so exciting to me. So I will give graphics, which I don't really see a problem with. It's much improved upon from the last two games, and those games are great. So I would say all-star across the board for graphics and storytelling here.
Now, before we go into this next part, because actually I'm going to add something to it. I told you about this before we got into the show, that we're going to rank our SpideyVerse. Spideys is what we're going to do. And I'm talking, you want to take the comic Spider-Man, you want to take Raimi Spider-Man, you want to take Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, you want to take Miles Morales, you want to take any of the ones from the Into the Spider-Verse, whichever Spideys you want. We're going to rank those ones and pick our top 2 or 3 and who would win out of that in a fight. But before we get to that, I want to know, so far, which one is your favorite suit you've gotten in the game?
I like the Miles Prowler suit, which has been in previous games, but it just looks so cool on him, and especially after we watched Across the Spider-Verse and what happens in that movie. Mm-hmm. Just seeing him as a Prowler Spidey hybrid, I just think is just so cool all the time.
It's so fucking cool. And that's one thing I love about Miles, is Miles isn't as tied down to comic lore in the past as Peter is. So when I'm playing with Miles, I do feel a little more at ease. Not at ease, but just like free to pick whichever suit I want. But I always go for the purple and green ones, because Miles in purple and green, holy shit, I love it. Now, and I think I have to agree, that is my favorite one for Miles as well, or just the purple and gold ones. I'd have to go look at some of them, but they're my favorite ones, and I love the customization available in this game. There's just so many damn suits you can pick, and honestly, a tip for players who haven't played it yet, and you're going to get in if you're still watching at this point. Don't immediately unlock all your suits, because some of those suits do take hero tokens, which is going to be able to up your health, up your damage, up your flight, and up your sneak as well, I believe. Pretty pretty early in the game, so you don't want to be wasting all your hero tokens on those. Buy the suits that have city tokens and or I believe tech tokens are the ones you're going to want to be able to grab first. But going back to which one of my favorite suit for Spider-Man, I love the Spider-Punk. I love the apocalyptic Spider-Punk. But man, I think it has to be Arachnite. I just love Spider-Man in the orange and black with the Arachnite in the suit. I love the thought of Spider-Man being a scary character because just you don't know he's coming. He's quiet. He's on the walls. He's in the corner and he's just perching you up and putting you on the ceiling. I love that fucking idea, and that's my favorite part of these games is just doing that kind of stuff. But let's get into the SpiderVerse rankings. First off, out of all the Spider-Man we've had, Peter Parker's, who are your top three? And is this game in there?
That's tough. I would say Tobey Maguire's going to be in there for nostalgic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, all these are going to be nostalgic, but I think those movies just age pretty great. Even the third one. The third one does have a little bit more charm when you know what you're expecting going into it. The 90s Spidey, which is the first Spider-Man I was ever introduced to in that cartoon, is going to be my second choice. Number 3, I love Andrew Garfield. I think he is the perfect Peter Parker. Like, he is the Peter I imagined from the comics come to life. And I just wish he would get another shot. I know he came back for No Way Home, but like if we saw his universe again, I think we could see some cool stuff there. But that would be my Mount Rushmore of
Damn,
Spider-Mans.
not even adding PS5 Spidey. All right, I'm adding PS5 Spidey off the bat. That guy is OP. He was OP in the first game with all his damn tools, and he's still OP now with all his damn tools. He takes more bullets than any of the Spider-Man out there. He gets into a fight with any of them, and they're all fucked. But Tom Holland is probably Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield are the other two. For me, I love 90s cartoon Spidey. I don't think he can hold up in a fight. I think Tom Holland and Andrew have the best chances out of them to go against this Spidey. But this Spidey, whew, and Yuri Lowenthal, let me talk about him because he is one of my favorite voice actors. I love him as Sasuke in Naruto. I love him in everything he's been in, and I've loved him in here. But when we get, and let me tell you, when we get Venom Spider-Man, when we get Black Suit Spider-Man, and it's not a spoiler, you already know it's going to fucking happen. But when you get him, the voice that we get, the evil Spider-Man voice, pure goodness, I love it. Yuri Lowenthal, give him a fucking Oscar for a video game. I don't care. I love him as Spider-Man in this. I love hearing him talk all the shit that he can talk as Venom. Talk about murdering people and throwing them against walls and just all the hanging up on people. Like, oh my god, he just seeps emo energy, and I love it, and it's fantastic. It's great, and I think he might be one of my favorite Spider-Man in the Spider-Verses, to be honest, because of the
Yeah.
power he has, the abilities he has, and also just like he still embodies Peter Parker completely. The one thing I'll say about him is he's way too willing to take off that mask.
Yeah, a lot of people know who he is, but I mean, Tom Holland is the same way.
Yeah,
His Spider-Man,
very much
and
so.
I don't think we've ever gotten a bad Spider-Man portrayal, honestly.
I mean, I've tried to think about it, and I don't think we have, and I, I think I think it's like, is that a credit to Stan Lee for writing Spider-Man, or is that a credit to Spider-Man, the character of just being such a good character? It's hard to fuck up. I don't know. Um, it's an interesting question, but let's cut this. We don't want to go too long. We don't want to spend too much time so people know whenever they need to buy the game. You need to buy the damn game. There's tons of characters. You get Mysterio, you get Sandman, you got Lizard, you got Venom, you got Kraven, and even more characters that you don't even know who are in this game, and characters you never see who you may not know are in this game who get mentioned that are going to shock the hell out of you. So we're excited for this one. My final box office QB score, and sorry, Jeff, I'm going to ask you yours, but I hate to assume that box office QBs is giving this one a Hall of Fame, giving the entire Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man Morales, and Spider-Man 2 series a Hall of Fame, because this might be a perfect reason to go out and buy a PS5 Slim this winter, really, for you and your loved ones.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an all-star just because I am not over the 50% mark yet, so I can't give anything I haven't gone over half of the time allotted our highest honor, but I'm sure it's probably going to get there, Gerald. I'm sure it'll probably be a Hall of Fame by the time I'm done beating it. But yeah, this is like the perfect thing for Spidey fans out there. Buy a PS5 for it.
Spider-Man fans have been fucking eating since like 2010. Like, we got the Amazings back to back, then we got Civil War, then we got Into the Spider-Verse, and across the Spider-Verse, we got all this Tom Holland Spider-Man movies and Avengers games, and then we got these. Spider-Man fans, we're living at the top right now, and it's fantastic. So, by the way, for our Box Office QB fans who are watching on YouTube, you have been seeing gameplay footage from the first 2 to 3 hours of Spider-Man 2. I have done my best to edit out any of the cutscenes for you, or at least the audio of the cutscenes, so you aren't be able to hear and you won't get anything spoiled. However, if you do want to see some more stuff that isn't cut up and left on the editing room for you, can go to my own personal YouTube page, Taimikage Dubs. Oh my God, I can't say it right.
Tamagotchi.
Taimikage Dubs. It actually means weed kage, of the village hidden in the haze. So, but it's there. You can find it, and there's, I think, 5 hours or so of video there if you wish to watch it all. I mean,
Link it.
You can do that, or you can just, I don't know, go buy the game and play it yourself because it's so freaking great. But also, and if you not wanting to do games and maybe you want to spend some money, join rival.com/boxofficeqbs. You can go to joinrival.com/boxofficeqbs and join, and also make your first deposit. With that first deposit, you'll get a $10 voucher, or $25 to your account, and up to $200 matched for your first deposit. So if you deposit $200, you're going to get $435, and you'll be able to say you are now a rival through Box Office QBs and bet with your friends on fantasy and sports. So, Jeff, do you have anything left to say about this game?
Thoughts and prayers to Xbox players.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers to Xbox players. I don't know why you would still be having the Xbox. I really don't.
Sorry, Eric.
Another day. If you have an Xbox, it better be because it's your backup to your PlayStation. Anyway, for Jeff, I am Gerald, and this is Box Office QB's Nerd Shit Edition. Thwip your way around town, have all the puns ready, because Spidey Daddy is back, and he's ready to tear through your TV. Adios, guys.